Hello everyone and welcome to my very first magic video. Now I have not had too much experience with magic. I have been playing for a little while. A friend of mine, Shola, he taught me. He also gave me this lovely playmat from Command Fest that's got this sort of 3D pattern to it. Very spooky. But last night I went to my first ever pre-release event, and that was for the new set Lorwyn Eclipsed. There was an original Lorwyn set a little while ago, and this is bringing it all back. The story of the world is that there is a place called Lorwyn, full of sort of light and life and all of these beautiful elves. And then there is sort of a reverse of that, a place called Shadowmoor, which is sort of all darkness and goblins. And this set brings them both together. The worlds have collided, so it's constantly shifting between night and dark, and all the creatures within have been sort of thrown into turmoil, but it's still this very magical, mystical place. And let me tell you, Lorwyn Eclipse has been really popular, especially for bringing a lot of new players in, like me. In fact, at the pre-release event I went to in my town last night, there was the most players that they had ever had for a Magic pre-release event. So many that they nearly didn't have enough boxes for everybody. So it's been really popular. It's a really great way to get into the game and kind of the perfect place for a beginner like me. Today, I'm going to be going through what you get in a pre-release box like this. You can buy them outside of the pre-release events, but the pre-release I went to, sorry, I got all of the contents of the box and then a couple of extra participation packs as well. If you just buy this online, you would just get what's in here. But even if it's just you and a friend playing, you don't have anybody else that you regularly play with, you could have a great time sort of drafting decks with each other with one of these pre-release boxes. So I would recommend it. It's a special format of Magic that is called Limited, and that basically just means you're only allowed to use the cards that you get in the box. And there are loads of different ways you can do it. There's even a draft box for Lorwyn Eclipse that's come out that you can buy. That's 4 players, so you can do your own draft night at home. But this is more of a sort of, it's a casual tournament where you get together with a lot of other fellow Magic players. They'll all be really helpful, and you'll open up your packs, see what you got in there, see if there's anything interesting, and then build a deck from it, and then have a little tournament. So I'll be going through my whole experience of my first ever pre-release event, as well as showing off some of the cards that I got, talking through the deck that I built, and letting you know how it all went. This is going to be the first of a few videos that I'm going to be making on the Lorwyn Eclipse set. I've loved collecting cards my whole life. I collected a lot of Pokemon, but getting into Magic has been really fun, and it's helping me to meet new people and make new friends. And hopefully I can inspire some other new players as well. So this is going to be very beginner friendly, mainly because I don't know much about it either. So I hope you enjoy. What we have then in this box, we have this beautiful art on the front there of some fey creatures frolicking, and then a moon eclipsing a sun on the back with some mystical patterns. And then when you pull the tab, the first thing you see, every light casts a shadow. Now, what you get in your pre-release box is going to pop out from here. So you'll get a little box like this. It's a really useful little card carrying box. It'll have everything you need in it. And you can see the artwork from the front is extended on that as well. Beautiful. All of the artwork is so lovely. And then it'll also come in sort of in the box that it all is wrapped up in, which has this art going all the way through it. And there's a couple of pop-out tokens as well. So you have tokens here, because obviously a big part of this new set is a lot of the -1/-1 blight counters that have been added to the game, or sorry, are being focused on more in the game. They've been in it forever. So you can pop those out and use them in your battling. You have these little pop out. I think these are supposed to be sort of dummy tokens if you ever you need a little token to spare. And so useful things already in that. But then the main thing you get is, of course, your little box. So in here will be your 6-packs. There'll be a little single card promo pack. I've kept some of the empty card wrappers just so you can see what they look like. So it'll open up like that. It's sort of seals quite nicely, pops open again. So in here then you get a little card separator just to keep your deck clean, and then this is your little foil rare or mythic, and it's like a paper pack, and it only had one card in it. And let me just see if I can find the promo card that I got. There was a bit of controversy around all of this, mainly because apparently this is the first one that's been done where the promo card isn't stamped or anything, so it's not necessarily special. You can just pull the exact same thing from another pack. But this is the one that I got. I got Rhymefire Talk. You'll see that some of my cards that I show you are in sleeves, because that's what they were ones that I used in my deck, or kept keeping them safe. So it's got a lovely, obviously, hollow shimmer to it, and I pulled one of the hollow rares rather than a hollow mythic. And it's just beautiful piece of art. I've got it with the rest of my elemental cards at the moment. Choose a creature type. Whenever a permanent you control of the chosen type enters, put a charge counter on this artifact, and then you can tap and remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. And then when you next cast an instant or sorcery, you can then copy it. So it allows you a sort of a double casting if you've built up those charges on it. So that's a really useful card. I didn't use it in the draft, but I was tempted to, and perhaps may have built a blue deck or a green-blue deck as an alternative. So that was my promo, and then of course you'll get within your box 6 packs. So these are the 3 different card arts, pack arts that you can get. So you have this lovely elf lady, perhaps druidy lady. You have a goblin auntie, and you also have a merfolk as well. So those are 3 of the big archetypes in this set. So you get 6 packs of these, and you can only build your deck using whatever you get in those 6 packs. So obviously the best fun of it is getting to rip open loads of packs, and the joys of finding what you get inside them. But obviously you then need to go through what you've got, and so the first thing to do is organize them by color, see what you have most of. So I think for me, I had a lot of green. I had a lot of elves that I packed. And you're looking to make a deck of a minimum 40 cards. So you need to have a good number of usable creatures and spells. So I think it could range anywhere from, I think it said 15 to 18. In fact, if you were never sure, one other thing that comes in the pre-release box is a little guide on how to draft. So it looks like this, and it tells you what the main archetypes of the set are. So you've got white-blue merfolk, black-red goblins, green-white kithkin, blue-red elementals, and black-green elves. And you can use those to guide your decision making in the deck stages. You don't have to do that, but that's typically where those different creature types belong. And then it also gives you a little outline to, how many creatures you should try and get out of your 40 cards. So 15 to 18, 5 to 8 other spells. It gives you a mana curve as well, and tells you should have around 17 lands. I think in the end I built a deck of 45. I had a few creatures that I didn't want to cut, and so I also had a couple of extra lands in there as well, just to balance it out. It says up here, most successful is exactly 40 cards. But, some people I saw were very successful with 50 last night. Some people played 4 colors instead of 2, and it was strange. But, it's all just guidance. And then do I have anything else in the box here? So I've just got a few of the counters, the pop-out counters. So a lot of them are double-sided, so -1, and other symbols as well. I guess that's flying. Stunned, perhaps. Perhaps this one is vigilance. Anyway, so you get all of that in your deck, and I will show you, I'll give you a quick look through what I got in my packs before I then talk about my deck. So of course you're likely to get a lot of tokens, so some of the new token artwork. I love the Shapeshifter, and then there's the Merfolk. You've got a 2/2 elf token, and the new, or not new, the returning Kithkin creature type. You have Treefolk and Goblins. I think that's, oh, I've got a treasure token as well. And of course, you may get some land as well. I pulled one hollow swamp, a couple of full art lands as well. Love the forest art there. Let's see if I can get that a bit closer. That's beautiful, right? Love that art style. Basic mountain and a couple of plains there as well. So again, lovely artwork on all of the lands. And then the main event. So what I did when I was organizing this all when I got back home last night, I've organized it basically into dual type archetypes, and I'll show you the options that kind of appear in Lorwyn. So we have some black blue. I only got a couple black blue. So this is sort of your fairy archetype. I got a couple of these voracious tome skinners, one in hollow, one in not, and a dream Caesar, and then a couple of spells that go quite nicely with it as well, a couple of instants. Not really that much. I don't think anybody was playing black blue last night, but it's an option for you there. And then what else did I not get a lot of? I didn't get a huge amount of goblins. I think a couple people were able to play goblins. This is your red-black. And I didn't get a massive amount, but you got sort of Sting Slinger, Bone Club Berserker, Boggart Prankster, Mudbutton Curse Tosser. Love that guy, like his pet frog. Boggart Mischief, Auntie Sentence. Now, a lot of these cards I am really excited about because I've got the Blight Curse commander deck that I'm going to be modifying with a few of these cards as well. I'm going to open that up maybe in a couple days' time, bring it to Magic Monday so I can try it out. So you have that Goblin archetype that some people used, and I think the tournament was won by a Goblin user. You have the blue-red, which is the Elemental creature type. So I have this nice hollow Flaring Cinder, and you have other cards like Kulrath Zealot, Flamekin Guildweaver, Summit Sentinel, got a couple of them, Kulrath Mystic. I think one of the options I was considering was an Elementals deck, and I am tempted to build one, sort of following the event. Collective Inferno, Kindle the Inner Flame, and then I did use this in my deck, the third Orc Core. It's a really nice mana rock, so it counts as a changeling because it's a shapeshifter. You can tap for a mana of any color, and you can also make it a 4/4 artifact for 4 mana. So that was really useful. I think the winning deck had this in it as well, which isn't surprising. So blue-red was really effective. It looks like white-black could be a sort of tree folk kind of deck. I think you need a lot more cards. I don't think there was enough for it in the pre-release to build a deck with, but you probably could put something together because you have Reaping Willow, which starts with a couple of -1/-1 counters, and then you can pay to remove those counters and bring something back from your graveyard straight to the battlefield. And being a 3/6 already is fairly strong. I really loved using the Sun Dappled Celebrant as well. Treefolk Cleric with Vigilance. You can convoke it, which is one of the reintroduced mechanics where you can tap your creatures to count as mana, and that's a 5/6 as well. Blighted Blackthorn. I should have paid more attention when I was building my deck because this is a really good card, and I may have considered using black, and we'll talk about that in a second because I think I should have. A couple of Prideful Feastlings. I like this Bark of Doran. I believe he was a tree folk feller or something. Nice equipment. Blight Rot is another really good card that I wish I'd used. And then I put these with the deck as well because these all look to be Tree Folk related. And I think you could probably build a good white, black, green deck with Tender Sprigs. And I know Spry and Mighty is a really popular card as well. Choose 2 creatures you control. You draw X cards, and the chosen creatures get +X/+X and gain trample until the end of turn, where X is the difference between the chosen creature's power. So a really strong card there. And we've got white, blue, Merfolk. This was probably the second most popular deck that was used at the pre-release event. Again, all this beautiful Merfolk artwork. Lovely. And then I did consider, so the deck that I built in the end was green-white, and I did consider adding some Merfolk to it because I liked these cards here, especially this Hollow Encumbered Regery. And Harmonized Crescendo is an amazing card. So it's 6 mana, obviously, but you can convoke it. Choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type. So if you have a lot of Merfolk down on the field, you could draw tons of cards. And then Springleaf Drum is another really useful card that I used in my deck. It allows you to tap an untapped creature you control for a mana, and tapping this as well. So Merfolk was really popular. I think there's a lot of cards for it in the set. In terms of additional cards that I didn't find had a great archetype within the set just yet, or at least in the pre-release context, you have a lot of multicolored or different colors of giants. So you have the Wildvine Pummeler, Burden Stoneback in white. Crib Swap is obviously a very famous spell, but I just love the artwork for that. Brambleback Brute in red, Tweeze is really funny, and Goat Nap. So I'm thinking of maybe putting together like a 3-color, maybe a green, white, red Giants deck at some point. That could be fun. I don't know if that's a thing. Let me know if it is. But the decisions that I made to do my green-white deck was based mostly off what I pulled in these 2 piles here. So I pulled quite a few green and white cards that I really liked. Now, the Elves deck archetype is supposed to be green-black, this pile here. I ended up playing Elves in green-white because I had a lot of cards that I felt supported each other, so it ended up being kind of a Elf-Kithkin mix-up. Maybe I would have been more successful if I'd stuck more with green-black, and then I could use some of those Tree Folk cards as well, like the Blight Tree Rot, whatever that was called. So looking through my green black collection, I got a couple of the Stoic Grove guides, which were really useful. You can cast once they've already died, you can exile them and create an extra token. Formidable Speaker was a really good spell. You get to discard a card and then search your library for a creature card. So that was really useful for pulling out the stronger cards that I wanted. You have cards with Flash and Reach. Champions of the Perfect is a really strong card as well. Moon Vigil Adherence, I didn't use this in the end, but may have done if it was black-green. Trample, you get +1/+1 for it, every creature you control and every creature in your graveyard. And then onto the sort of black cards of the set, Moonglove Extractor, Scarblade Scout, Creekwood Safe Right, and then a few others as well. I got a Hollow Pitiless Fists, Morkant's Eyes was a useful enchantment in the game, and a couple more there. So you can see there's a lot of elf-based cards in this set. Now, I think I saw a few players with black-green. I probably should have been playing with black-green, but by far the most popular set, and I think this was probably over half of the players used green-white, the Kithkin set. Now, the reason why I went with green-white is because I pulled Brigid, Kraken's Heart, because I absolutely love the artwork for it, and it's my first ever double-sided card. So the white side of her, when she enters or transforms back into this form, she creates a 1/1 green-white Kithkin creature token. So one of these. every time she either enters or comes in as this. And then at the beginning of your first main phase, you can pay a green mana, and if you do, you transform her from Bridget Clacken's Heart to Bridget Dune's Mind, so she becomes her Shadowmoor self. And then she has a tap ability where you can tap to add X green or white mana, where X is the number of other creatures you control. So there was, I think, one of the games I played, I had 7 creatures down, and then spent the 7 mana I already had, and then I could tap her to spend another 7 mana. And then, of course, you can transform her back with a white mana at the start of your turn, or the beginning of your main phase, and then turn her back to this. She'd create another Kithkin token, and the cycle continues. So I am considering making a commander deck with Brigid at some point, because she's just a really fun card. And I think it would be fun to build something like that. I'm not sure if anybody else pulled it while I was there. And then what else do we have in the green white? I didn't get a huge amount of green white. Oh no, sorry, I didn't get a huge amount of Kithkin cards. So this Bristlebane Battler I did use is really fun. It starts with a bunch of -1/-1 counters, so it comes in at 1/1. But every time another creature comes in, it loses a counter, so eventually builds up to 6/6, which is really useful when you have Bridget as well, and she's summoning a bunch of these Kithkin tokens. A couple of Surly Farriers and a Miss Meadow Council. You have one riding a chicken. That's really fun. Gold Meadow Nomad. Keep Out. I love the art on this one. They are so spooky. Evershrike's Grift, and then Appeal to Urdu. I think I've seen some really great Urdu full art cards. This one I wasn't really sure what to do with. I had it in my deck, but in the 3 games it didn't come up a single time. What are the chances? Legendary creature, Elf Warrior with Flash. When Reese enters, another target creature you control gains Persist until the end of turn. Persist is when it dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, you return it to its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter. So you can effectively ensure certain creatures don't die if they don't have counters, and then he can also be used to remove any counters to prevent things from dying again. I didn't get to use him in any of my games, but he definitely intrigues me. I wonder if I might try and include him in some deck soon. So green white was the color I played. I played mostly elves and then a couple of giants, a couple of Kithkin, but mostly elves. And honestly, the deck building experience was so much fun. The people at my local game store were really supportive, really kind and generous, and they were super helpful in, looking through my cards with me, helping me, and obviously they were building their own decks as well, but sort of answering any questions I had, because obviously I'm almost a complete beginner in Magic, so there's a lot that I was trying to wrap my head around in terms of some of the terminology on the cards and things like that, and getting used to synergy in my deck, and how many creatures I need, how many spells I need. But it's so much fun. You build for a decent length of time, probably at least half an hour, and then straight after that, me and the guy who I was sat next to, and we were all pretty much on this big long table. The guy sat next to me. We decided we were going to play a couple of practice games, or just like the opening of games, just to see, is the mana curve all right? Do we have enough lands in? And that was really helpful, just to get some practice. We made some changes to our decks, and then we were called to begin the actual competition itself. And of course, for the first game, I was chosen to play on stream. So I got to play my first round on stream against a guy called Jack, who was really helpful as well. Like I told him I was a beginner, and he was super helpful through the game. In fact, I won the first game of that. He got pretty screwed with the lands. He was just drawing pretty much only lands, whereas I was getting a lot of the cards that I needed, and it was a slow game. But I was able to will him down and won that first game. The second and third game of that round, he got all the cards he needed, and my deck was just too slow. So if we were playing slow, I would win. If we were playing fast, he won. And he also pulled the full art Ajani Planeswalker. And many of you who have been to pre-release events before, in a limited format like this, planeswalkers are completely unbalanced because they have, much different skills. They're much harder to account for, and really, you don't have any equivalent in your own deck. So both game two and game three, he pulled his Ajani and played it quite early on, and it just spiraled out of control. But even though I lost 2-1, I was really happy because that was the first game of Magic that I had ever won. So I was really proud of myself, and I'm excited to play some more as well. I definitely think, like, to begin with, a limited format does favor beginner players a little bit more because you're all playing with the same restrictions on your cards. You're not playing Commander against somebody who's been building their Commander deck up for the past 5 years. You're playing with brand new cards that are limiting you in the same way. You only have 6 packs each. It's the luck of what you draw, basically. So it's a bit more beginner friendly. Obviously, I'm now starting Commander decks. I've got one. I bought a second one. I've bought the Blight Curse, which I'll show a different day. But with limited, it's an even playing field, and it's really, really fun. And I forgot to show you, I got a couple of useful land cards. So I got an Evolving Wilds, which is always going to be quite useful, and I really like the art of that one as well. But then I got a shock land. I got Blood Crypt, which is tap for black or red. As it enters, you may pay 2 life, and if you don't, it enters tapped. So these have been really popular. There were lots of people sad that they didn't get any in their pack openings. I didn't even use this in the end in my set, in my deck. But it's good to have one. And then I got one like big pull basically. So the only color combination that I haven't shown you yet is blue green. Again, there wasn't really enough to make something of it in this set. There's this really cute Glister Bairn card. He's an oof. I don't know what an oof is. But he appears to be wearing a raccoon suit of some kind, and he appears to be some kind of pixie, maybe. It's a really good card. I like it. I just couldn't use it. So I got a couple of them, I think. I got a Chomping Changeling. I really like all the Changeling artwork in this, which I think goes nicely with that kind of archetype, and also Changeling Wayfinder. He is super cute. 3 mana, he's a Changeling, and when he enters, you can search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle. So find you a land, super nice fetch. And then the best card that I pulled in the whole of the 6 packs that I opened was this Special Guest Risen Reef. Now, I love this so much. So it is one of the papercraft cards that are included in this set. It's by Special Guest Nathana Erica. It's an existing card. It's a mythical. Whenever this creature or another elemental you control enters, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can put it on the battlefield tapped. If you don't put the card onto the battlefield, you put it into your hand instead. It is just so beautiful. Look how cute that is. I love all the colors. And so it was really nice, like, because it was the first time opening a pre-release box for me. I just wanted something cool in it. And even though I didn't get to use this in my deck, it was just a really fun pull. So I was really happy with that. Overall, I'd rate the experience really highly. Obviously, it's a great product. I think it's a really good price point as well. I think for pre-release in the UK, you pay, anywhere between $30 and $38 pounds, and for that price you get everything in the box, and then usually some participation packs. Different places might do it differently. I know one local game store that awards participation packs based on rankings at the end, and another one just gives out 2 to everyone. Everybody was so friendly. It was really beginner friendly. The local game store staff were really attentive as well, really supportive, and I just loved the whole thing. I had to go a little early, but they were really, really helpful, and I just can't wait until the next pre-release, basically. I would recommend it to anyone. Get yourself down to the next Magic the Gathering pre-release event. I can't wait to play more draft, more limited. I've got a bundle that I'm ready to open, and I've got a commander deck as well that I'm going to have a look through pretty soon. But yeah, so pre-release, it's great for anyone. It's great if you want to get into a new set. It's great if you want to get into the card game altogether. And everybody there is in the same position as you. It's not you know, competitive necessarily. It's a competition, sure, but people are there to have fun. And I'm really grateful to everybody at my LGS who was there to help out and who have been super kind since I joined. I literally started playing Magic like properly, like going to play with other people, like last Monday. So, you know, it's not been a week yet. And I can't wait to go to Magic Monday on, well, this Monday. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little video sort of showing what I got through my pre-release set and going through my experience. I had a lot of fun, and if you enjoyed this video, then just let me know, and hopefully we'll have some more Magic content as well. Me and Sophie, you know, she loves blind boxes. You can see the stuff on the shelf here. I love cards. We both love opening things. So if this kind of content takes off and is popular, we could open, you know, Pokemon cards. We can open Magic cards. You know, this has been a dream of mine to do a video like this forever. And it's what I spend a lot of my time on YouTube watching. So if this finds the right audience, then, you know, give it a like, give us a subscribe. We're trying to grow our channel. And hopefully next time I'll be able to show you, we'll do a pack opening and see what we get in our Lorwyn Eclipsed bundle. But I hope you all have a good evening, and I will see you soon.